I only touch greatness.
Hey, this is John Rocker, former closer of Atlanta Braves. I will be coming up on the next episode of I Only Touch Greatness.
Traded to Cleveland. What was it like being in a new location?
Yeah, I thought I was really going to like it. It was by the end there with Atlanta. I went through arbitration the year before, and it's something. Because of course, the team's trying to save money. You're trying to make more money. That's what arbitration is all about. And basically, to sit there and across a boardroom table with your agent and all that, and they got the panel of arbitrators, and then they've got the team's got their representation, and to sit there and watch your boss motherfuck you and tell you he can't do this, he can't do that, he sucks at this, and you're like, fuck you piece of shit. That ring you're wearing, you had that ring went for my ass. So after that arbitration case, I didn't speak to Sherholtz the whole year. I mean, he walked by me in the clubhouse. Hey, John, just game face and just keep going. So I just like, I do a pretty good job of holding grudges, and I didn't want to be in Atlanta anymore. Just from that, you don't think I'm worth what my agent was. My agent was probably being a little aggressive, asking for the money that we were asking for. But to sit there and listen to your boss, just run you down, was quite maddening. And so when I got traded, basically just for being an asshole to Sherholtz, for the better part of about 3 or 4 months, Cleveland, great organization. Really enjoyed playing there. Great team. We made the playoffs that year. And guys like Ellis Burks, CC Sabathia, still dear friends to this day. Chuck Finley, Kenny Lofton, Tomey, Robbie Alomar, Vizquel. We had an awesome team. But as soon as I got up there, I was missing home. And it's one thing to play in the big leagues, but when you get to play for the team that you grew up rooting for, you take games for that team, very, very personally. And remember back when you're playing in high school, and I went to the same school for 12 years, from first grade through 12th grade. And so when it came to football games, baseball games against our in-town rival, I took that shit personally. I played for Atlanta the same way. I've been growing up, as an Atlanta fan since I'm 4 years old, going to Fulton County Stadium and listening to Skip Carey and Pete Van Wieren on AM 680, I think was what it was, or AM 940 on the local Macon station. We're out driving around, and I had to listen to and watch so much Braves baseball, and I can still remember where I was when Sid slid in my childhood bedroom, jumping up and down the bed, screaming at my TV, Ryan Sid, and when they called him safe, I just lost it, and so now I get to play for this team. Holy shit! And I took those games very, very personally. As if I was playing for my high school team against my crosstown rival with that Braves uniform on. And I went to Cleveland, and I noticed, I won't say I didn't pitch as hard, but I just didn't have the passion in Cleveland. And I can remember, the first probably month or two I'm there, while my Indians are playing outside, I'm in the clubhouse, usually in the food room, just sitting there on the couch watching the Braves play on TV while I'm getting ready to pitch for Cleveland here in about 2 hours. Missing my buddies, missing home. Just bought a new house, about 3 or 4 months before, and shit, just buy a new house. I came to live in it, was kind of pissed. So the organization was great. And I remember John Burkett telling me one time, I was sitting there ranting about, hating Atlanta and Sherholtz and all that stuff. And Berkey's, crafty veteran at that point, is like, be careful what you wish for, John. Damn grass ain't always green on the other side. That cliche. And he was right. I kind of got my wish of being traded. And when I got there, I'm like, shit, I don't really want to be here. I wish I was, still going through the battles with my boys. And of course, I was with the organization for like 10 years. And I came up in the minors with Andrew, with Millwood, with Wes Helms, Mark DeRosa. Odalis Perez, Bruce Chen, all of us were, and you get such a bond, such a camaraderie, riding buses and rookie ball with guys, riding buses and A-ball, and just, the crap you go through as a minor league player. Definitely a bond gets formed there. And, when you've got those kind of memories and that kind of, tough lifestyle you live for about, 4.5, 5 years. And then you look across the dugout and there's Kevin Millwood, and you're, in the NLCS or World Series. You're like, yeah, I remember, you and me and rookie ball that one time, but we eating gas station hot dogs at 2:00 in the morning on a bus ride home from Macon to wherever. So, yeah, I didn't like Cleveland, but it was kind of a rude awakening that I just didn't have the passion.
Was it better than Texas though?
Oh yeah, it was in Texas. My problem was in Texas. There was just first of all, I was pitching hurt most of the year, but the manager Jerry Nair was an absolute fucking clown. I mean, that for Tom Hicks to give. At that point in time, we were the highest payroll in the big leagues. I mean, it was about almost a $200 million payroll. A-Rod at short and Palmeiro at first, Pudge catching, Juan Gonzalez and right. I mean, it was just future Hall of Famers all over the place. And they gave that team to Jerry Nair, and that's the equivalent in my mind of giving a brand new Ferrari to a 16-year-old. Like, what are you thinking? Get somebody that's got some. That was his very first managing job, and butcher it. Yeah, he could not have done worse. That doesn't aside from the fact that I just had a shit year, but as there was pitching hurt, and back then it was I don't feel so good. Give me some Toradol, stick it in my ass. Let's go. I'm not putting myself in DL, and should. I mean, I played for, including the minors. At that point in time, about 12 years, 11 years maybe, and hadn't been on the disabled list for anything. Not a stub toe, not a pulled hammy, nothing. And I'm like, I'll be damned if I can go to the DL now. And so just like a hard-headed, 27, 28-year-old, I feel like ass, my arms hanging. Give me some more pay bets. Let's go. We're not going to the DL. Got a ball game win here. So that wasn't the smartest of decisions.
Yeah, I remember one. I was reading one article that you said everybody was on steroids at that time. So of course I was.
I mean, they were, and when
it was allowed back then.
Yeah, well, it wasn't necessarily allowed, but it wasn't disallowed either. So, and the front office, they knew it. The coaches knew it. The commissioner's office knew it, and that's one thing too. After my old SI stuff, you didn't have to submit to a drug test for anything, and unless you've been arrested, if you've been caught in some other fashion. I've been arrested and they found cocaine on me. Okay, well, then the league can test you. But if you've never been, had any issues like that, then you didn't have to submit to a drug test. You just tell the team go shit in your hat. And so they were getting ready to suspend me and all this kind of stuff, And Selig's office calls my agent and was like, "We want John to take a drug test." I'm like, "Go fuck yourself." My agent's like, "They're already pretty pissed out. You just take the damn drug test, dude." Well, I failed it for steroids. Seelig didn't say shit. He didn't care. You think the only guy in the league? Look at these monsters around. I'm the only guy in the league, bud. Really? I mean, Seelig knew, but asses are in the seats, and 5 years before, league went on strike. First time World Series wasn't played since World War II. I mean, Seelig's got some, still some PR problems, and McGuire and Sosa and Bonds were great for the game. The 50, 60 bombs they're hitting every year. So of course he knows what's going on, why it's happening. So he ain't gonna say shit. And I'm paid to win ball games. I can't go out there knowing what these guys are doing that have put on 60 pounds in the last 2 years and went from hitting 20 home runs a year to hitting 48 home runs a year. I can't very well go into Bobby after blowing and say, "Well, Bobby, I'm sorry, the guy he was saying I'm not." Like, yeah, I hear what you're saying, John. Here's your plane ticket back to Richmond, and we'll call you if we need you. I mean, you can't do that shit. So I'm not going to walk into a gunfight with a knife.